Hello everyone. So today I'm gonna cover all the 8 marks questions that came from May 2020 to November 2023. So under this year, all the 8 mark question that came, so I will solve that today. So start with the first question, which is evaluate the choices society must make between the expanding of ICT and the need to protect the environment. Okay, so when we're writing the question, we have to understand, or we have to identify that the particular question is asking a similar type of advantage or disadvantage. Like for the 8 marks question, most of the question are like that. You can came up with the advantage and disadvantage, but there are some particular question that one is a bit exceptional compared to that. So when we will go through this, we will understand how to solve that type of question as well. So for the first one, if I do some brainstorming, suppose, all right, so here they're saying that we have to think about that we can expand the use of ICT, right? We can expand the ICT, and also we need to protect the environment. That means ICT is also hampering our environment. So we have to, based on this two, we have to think how we can came up with the point. So first of all, when we will came up with the 8 mark question, first of all we have to came up with the introduction. Okay, so we will came up with the introduction. Then they mention that the need to protect the environment, right? So we have to think about what thing is affecting the environment. So we have to came up with what is affecting the environment. Affect the environment, suppose. Okay, now came up with the point. Think about what is the thing that is affecting our environment that is related to ICT. So at my point of view, I think that the first thing that is affecting is the material, right? The material that uses by the ICT, like the material that is uses to create a laptop or mobile, that material must be biodegradable. If it's not biodegradable, then it's quite harder to dispose, right? So that means we can write material dispose, suppose. Okay, change it to black. It is material dispose. Then what can be the other thing? So there are a lot of devices, right? So there are a lot of waste are creating each air. So that means we can write e-waste. E-waste means electronic waste. Then came up with, because I already gave 2 example, right? No, not 2 example, 2 description, that there will be a material dispose, and then e-waste can be the other factor. But how it is doing, like came up with a real scenario, right? Came up with an example. Now, because they are saying that we already mentioned what the type of thing that is affecting our environment. So now we will think how we can help the environment, right? How we can protect the environment. So in a simple way, if we think like that, if we want to protect the environment, we have to came up with something eco-friendly product, right? So how to came up with product, suppose how to came up with ICT product that can protect the environment, suppose. Okay, this is the point that I am writing. So we have to think about that now. So we have to think about this. So when we're writing the 8 mark question, always we have to remember to create a template like this way, right? First of all, you have to came up with a point, like I came up with affect the environment, then I came up with how we can solve this effect thing, right? So for this one is the how to came up with ICT product that can protect the environment, or we can think about protect the environment. Okay, so think about this, and then how can we, for the e-waste, to reduce the e-waste, we can came up with renewable and reusable, right? So that reuse as well. And recycle, we can also use recycle. And then we can also use like reuse. So like whatever, I just get the point, I just write it down. So you guys also do the same thing. Or maybe we can use the biodegradable material for when we are creating the material, right? So this is all the things that I came up with, particularly this point. Now expanding the use of ICT. So how we can expand the use of ICT, because now we have to think that we reduces the effect on the environment, right? So now we will came up with how we can make it, how to expand the ICT, or how we can use the ICT that can help us to protect our environment as well. So we can think about how eco-friendly product help us to expand the ICT. Suppose how eco-friendly product, or maybe how ICT can help us to expand the, or how ICT can help us to save the environment, right? Because this is a based on environment fact type of question. So we have to think about, because we are wanted to expanding the ICT, right? So we have to came up with that factors that can show us that by using the ICT we can also protect the environment, because they already said that the need to protect the environment. So for that things, ICT can help us to track the e-waste, right? Because they can help us to give the exact amount of number or the exact amount of waste are creating each year, right? So they can track e-waste. Then they can also detect dangerous material for animals, right? Material for animal. Then also they can help us to spreading this news to all the people, right? So we can write spreading news. So that means this 3 is the point that I came up with this one, okay, with this point. Now the last is conclusion. So it's done. So here if you can see that one thing, this one is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, right? There's a 10. I already write 10 things. So actually maybe we can use 2 from here. If I remove this one, and yeah, I can use this 3, because now 3 6 and 3 9, so it's okay, right? So now after that you have to came up with the exact marks point, right? So I came up with the exact marks point, because I don't want to write more than 8 marks, like more writing for the 8-mark question. So for that thing we already completed the brainstorming session. Now we will came up with the answer for this question. So first of all we will came up with the introduction. So introduction, think about the question and then came up with the introduction. That's it. Just in your introduction add this question in a just rephrasing way. That's it. So for that one I can use it like this way. As our society uses more information and communication technologies like computer and smartphones, we face a choice of how to enjoy the benefits of ICT without harming the environment, right? That's it. Now we will came up with affecting the environment part. So how it affect the environment. So for that particular things, this part, suppose I'm saying that here making and throwing away ICT devices requires a lot of natural resources, right, and energy, which can lead to problem like pollution. So material I already mentioned material because they are throwing the material, right? When suppose when a particular people throwing something to the landfill, it can create some chemical, or maybe it can't dispose to the material, so it will be taking the place for like 1,000 years. Or even if there's a chemical release on the certain type of material, during that time that type of liquid goes to the water, and that water are become polluted, and it can be animals or it can be human, they are drinking that water, right, which affect their health. Beside that, when they are creating the material, they are using fire to create some of the metal, to attach some of the metal, like that they have to burn things. So during the burning time, the smoke is released to the air, which is also create a pollution because we are breathing, right? So what I did, first of all, I give an example like making and throwing ICT devices require a lot of natural resources and energy, which can lead to problem like pollution that I already explained, and the buildup of e-waste in landfills. I mentioned the e-waste as well. Okay, then I can go to the example. For example, batteries from old devices can leak harmful chemicals into the ground and water, right? This three part done. Now we will go to the how we can reduce it. So there is a renewal, recycle and reuse. We will use this three things, and then we will came up with the point of this. So for that, okay, I just create a new line. So but there are way to make ICT more eco-friendly, right? So we can use biodegradable material. If you want, you can use the biodegradable material, recycle material from old devices, because here I already removed the biodegradable, right? But you can use it, it's up to you. So, and encourage people to reuse electronics instead of buying new one. So we already solved this part as well. Now we will came up with how ICT help us, right? So that this point will make a sense that we can able to expand the uses of ICT, because ICT is helping us to protect the environment. So moreover, ICT can actually help to protect the environment, such as spreading awareness about environmental issue, which is a spreading news that I write. And then it is also mentioning about environmental monitoring climate changes. They can also monitor the climate change, track wildlife to protect endangered species, right? So this is all the thing that we came up with. Now at the last we will go with the conclusion. So as a conclusion, just give a short para based on all these things. So as a conclusion, by balancing the use of ICT with this practice, we can protect the environment while enjoying the benefit of technology, right? So now I will just, this is the introduction, so I will just create a 3 para. Yeah, so this is the answer of this question. So we successfully completed the question number 1, which came in November 2021. And this is the brainstorming. So whenever you guys are doing this type of question, first came up with the point and then came up with the detailed point of that point, right? So after that, it will help you to organize the paragraph based on the point. So now we will go to question number 2. Second question is, evaluate how online communities have impacted on how we socialize, right? So here the question is about, before we socialize people by face to face, right? We went to their house or we are playing with them on the field, similar like that. But now that type of communication quite reduced, and we used to play online games, we used to chat online, right? So that is the socialized way that is the online way that we are socialized with the people. So here they also mention one of the word, which is evaluate, right? Evaluate. First question also they mention about the evaluate. So when it comes to evaluate, that means there will be must, advantage and disadvantage you have to write, and at the conclusion you have to write about your point of view, whatever you are thinking. So this one also evaluate, that we already write. So that means this one is also evaluate. So we have to think about the advantage and disadvantage for this question as well. So for that one, we will came up with the brainstorming at first. So obviously at first we will came out with a little bit introduction, that is just a paraphrasing of the question. That's it. So it will give you a better structures of your question. That's it. Then we will came up with the body we will think about it later. Now there's another portion, which one is a conclusion, right? Conclusion. Okay, so introduction and conclusion is done. Now think about the body. Inside the body, what we can write. So obviously I already mentioned, because it's a evaluate, so there will be advantage and disadvantage. So that means we can add advantage and we can add disadvantage. Okay, so now think about what is the advantage that online gave us, or the internet gave us, to socialize with the people. We can connect with wide range of culture, right? Easier to meet people, 24/7 accessible. So there is a 3 point. So the point number 1 is we can connect, I don't want the underline, we can connect wide range of people. Maybe I can just write it here. Yeah, this is connect with wide range of people, easier to meet people, right? Because now if we message someone in WhatsApp or Messenger, we can instantly get the reply, 24/7 accessible. And then what can be the disadvantage? Think about the disadvantage. You guys can pause my video and think about the point by yourself first, okay? Then see what the brainstorming I am working on, or I did. So then the disadvantage for that one will be, maybe because we are not seeing, right? So if someone is texting with some angry expression, we can't able to see their body language. This is one of the factor. And the other thing is, the friendship are not that much deep, right? The way we used to make friend during the time we don't have that much internet facilities. And beside that, the other thing is, the Facebook have an algorithm, right? So the algorithm purpose is like, whatever you like, they will show you that type of things. So there are so many online communities, like if I like candles, then Facebook will only show me the type of candles communities, right? So what happened, I will be join that community where the other people who are also joining that particular communities, they also likes that type of candles, right? So similar interest people are connecting. So we don't get the idea about a different idea people, or the people who carry different idea, right? So that means we end up with similar interest people. So this can be the disadvantage. So our brainstorming is done. Now we will move to answering the question. So first of all, we will came up with the introduction, right? So maybe this can be the introduction. Online communities have made it much easier to socialize and connect with others. Then we will come out with the advantage. So what can be the advantage? I already mentioned the point here. So based on that point, I write the advantage. See, through social network, chat and video calls, we can quickly meet new people. And because I just expand these things, right, and connect with different cultures, no matter where we are. Sorry. So this has expanded our social circles and allowed us to stay in touch with friends and family more easily, right? That's it. So I just expand these 3 things in this. Now we have to came up with the disadvantage. So what can be the disadvantage? So just we have to make a discussion about this point. That's it. So I will discuss this point here. However, there are some downside to socializing online. Since we can't always see body language or hear tone of voice, right? Messages can be misunderstood Online friendship, this one is based on this point. Now we go to the second point, friendship are not strong. So that one is like online friendship can form quickly, but they might not be as deep or meaningful as those made in person, right? Also, safety features on platform can limit who we can talk to, and we often end up only interacting with people who share similar views, keeping us in isolated group. That means similar interest. This constant availability of online communities also makes it hard to disconnect and enjoy time online. So this one is the extra thing that I write. This can lead a fear of missing out, where we feel pressurized to stay connected even if the interaction aren't meaningful, right? Because some of the time when you get the message from the WhatsApp, you are always thinking like, I have to reply that particular person, but face to face you have a lot of people, right? So during that time, maybe we are doing dinner with our parents, but because of the message we are busy with our phone. So we are trying to we have a fear like maybe we can lose the other side of the person who is on the WhatsApp or the messengers. So that can be the reason. So now we will came up with a conclusion. So based on all these things, we will connect all the word and came up with the overall. So overall, while online communities have made it easier to connect with other people, they have also brought challenges. It's important to balance online and in-person interaction to keep our relationship strong and meaningful. That's it. So these two will be together. That means we have one of the introduction, then we have the body, and then we have the conclusion, right? So that means this brainstorming is done. Sorry, this answer is done. Number 3 is about evaluate the tools that are available to help individuals stay safe online, right? So they again mention about evaluate, right? So evaluate means obviously you have to add the advantage and disadvantage. The tools that are available to help individuals stay safe online, right? So just think about this is actually a general question, right? So if you want to stay safe online, what type of tools you are using? Tools means it can be, protection. It can be the password. Password is one of the tool, right, that we use to protect our Facebook. Because we want to protect our Facebook, so that we want to protect our personal information that we share in our Facebook, right? We also want to protect our Gmail by using the password, because we don't want to share our email to someone else. Then think about that. Just pause the video and think about that, because this one also you have to add an introduction, then there will be a body, then there will be a conclusion. But inside the body, because it's an evaluate question, so we must have to came up with the advantage and disadvantage. So try to think by yourself, right? And then you can, after you write down all the answers, all the thinking that you have, then you will play my video and see what the point that I get. So the thing is that some of the point our mark scheme don't even mention, like one of the thing that I use here, which one is a biodegradable, right? But biodegradable is also considered as a thing which can protect the environment, but inside the mark scheme they don't write it. So but still, if you write it, you will get the mark. So if there is a valid point, you will get the mark, right? So for the tool, there are a lot of tools to make the online safer, right? There's a lot of, so because mark scheme have a limited space, so they can only provide limited type of tools that they know, or maybe because it's a 8-mark question, right? So whatever they get, they just write it there. So based on your thinking, if the tool is actually helping, then obviously you will get the mark. So think about what's the tool that can help us to stay safe online. So first of all, I already mentioned that can be the password. Password can be one of the tool, right? Then we can also think about some filter option, because I don't know you guys hear about that or not, because we can also filter some of the IP address, so that we can't able to visit that particular website, right? So that means we can filter. And for the internet, firewalls are there. They're giving us security for the malicious type of virus that can affect our computer through the internet. So firewall help us with that. One of the tool can be firewall. Then we can also install antivirus software, right, which can also save our PC. If we download something, malicious type of software, that antivirus save us from that type of software. So it can be you can write anti-malware or antivirus, whatever, right, software. Then we can also use some privacy setting. We can set something as a private so that it can protect us. And beside that, if we think about the online, maybe we can also use report button, because inside the Facebook they have a report button, right? If there's something happen with you, you can report them. So there is a report button. And can also add like inside the community we can also share, like if something bad happened with someone, they can share it with the community so the other people can able to know. I think this is the enough point. But here the issue is, now you can think, right, because this is the evaluate question, so we have to came up with advantage or disadvantage. Then how to came up with the advantage or disadvantage here? Because at the first, what happened, we came up with a different advantage and a different type of disadvantage, right? But here we have to think about each point advantage and disadvantage. Like for the password, what can be the advantage and what can be the disadvantage? For the filter, what can be the advantage, what can be the disadvantage in a one line? So what will be the answer for this question? The answer for this question will be this will be the answer. So where it is saying that to stay safe online, various tools offer different type of protection, right? Each with its pros and cons. So this one will be the introduction. Just remember, this one will be the introduction. Now we will came up with the part of the filter. So what filter do? Filters block harmful content but also block useful sites or be bypass. Means when we are providing the filter, we are trying to block some harmful content, but some of the time or most of the time they also block some of the useful site as well. So this is one of the disadvantage. For the firewall protect our device from unauthorized access but can be tricky to set up and might not catch every thread, because that's why we have to use the anti-malware software, right? Then we came up with the anti-malware software. Anti-malware software detect and remove harmful software through it can slow down your devices and might miss new threats. So that this is the one of the issues, that when you install your antivirus to your PC, it will slow your PC. This is one of the thing. So most of the people don't want to use that. This is one of the reason. Then comes to the privacy settings. Privacy settings helps control who see your information, right? Like in your Facebook, you can do some privacy based on that. Some people can view your certain pictures, some people can't able to see, but can be confusing and vary between platform. Like for the setting, Facebook have a different setting, whereas Instagram have different setting, right? Or maybe Twitter have different setting. So you have to learn about that. And then encryption secure your data but can slow down performance and be complex to manage. So encryption is one of the technique. Oh sorry, here we can add the 8 number point, which is encryption, that I forgot. Encryption. Okay, so encryption is, I think you guys already know what is the meaning of encryption. When we are because in WhatsApp is one of the most common, they show you that end-to-end encrypted, right? So when you were texting someone, okay, the data that is passing through the server, during that time your data is encrypted. So they uses a cipher text algorithm, and that algorithm messed up your word, so that if some hacker hack your data when it is passing through the server, they can't able to see it, because the key is only because the decryption key, that is only not only the receiver have the decryption key, so the receiver can able to decrypt that data. Okay, so this is one of the technique or tools you can use. You can tell password are crucial for account security, but they need to be strong and unique to be effective. Weak or reused password are vulnerable, like it can be easily hacked. Report buttons let you flag inappropriate content. True responses can be slow or misused, like some of the people can misuse, like if some of the people don't like some other pages, they just continuously report, click on the report button, so that's something bad happened to that particular people, but that particular person don't have any issues, right? It's just of the jealousy. Then communities offer support and advice but can vary in quality and raise privacy concern. Like for the community's perspective, suppose you are joining one of the community where they discuss about some family problem, right? So when you are sharing your family problem, maybe some other guy or maybe your relative or maybe some other person can able to detect you, or this can create a issue in your family. So this is one of the things. Or maybe you ask for some of the help, but the other person, they don't get it in a right way, they think that you are the bad one, or maybe you can explain in that organized way, that there is so many things can happen. So in summary, combining these tools enhance online security, but it's important to understand their limitation and use them wisely for the best protection, right? So that's the conclusion. So this is the end of question number 3. So this is the brainstorming. Now we will move to question number 4. Question number 4 is Dishan makes his digital games own digital games. Discuss how copyright legislation affects how Dishan uses digital media to make a game. So here notice one thing, there is nothing about evaluate, right? They are saying that discuss. So when discuss came, that means we have to discuss about these things, right? So I noticed that most of the question for 8 marks, most of the question came from this chapter, which is unit 3, chapter 6. For this one, you just read the chapter 6, which is risk of data and personal information, right? And then chapter 7, impact of the internet, online communities, the implication of digital technologies and online informations, from chapter 6 to chapter 8, and I think chapter 11 as well. This is the most common chapter which covered the 8 marks question. So for this question, you guys have to know the number of laws have, the certificate have, right? So first of all, for this one, we again have to follow the brainstorming that we did. So again, pause and think, right? So for this one, what we have to do, first of, because this one is not an advantage, a disadvantage question, so we have to first of all, because they are saying discuss how copyright legislation affects, so we have to first describe this. What's the meaning of this? So first of all, you have to come with the introduction, then you have to discuss what does it mean, how it affect, right? So first of all, we will came up with the meaning of legislation. Okay, then instead of the legislation, what the other thing we can use, that one is a royalty fee. Royalty fee means which is a free type of software you can use in your game, right? So here, just think about the question at first. So what the question is saying, that Deshan is one of the person that you already know, he want to create a digital game, right? So when a person wanted to create a digital game, they have to use some of the cartoons inside that games, right? And some of the other creatures, or maybe some of the other design. So they have to use digital media. Digital media means when you are using some of the icons, some of the photo from the internet, right? So during that time, you obviously have to use some certification, or so that you won't get the copyright issues, right? So that means we have to give the meaning. We have to understand what is the meaning of legislation, and then we have to came out what the other we can use, which is we can use the royalty free type of pictures, and then we have to explain the copyright issue. What is the copyright law out there? After that, because he's creating an online game that must be available to the international, right? So he have to use the international copyright agreement so that it is internationally respected and available for each and every country or the different countries, right? So suppose one of the copyright laws that is workable in my country, but when it goes to US or England, there is no value. So what happened when there is no value? Other people can easily copy my work, right? So for that one, we have to also international copyright agreement, right? When you were like when you were installing any type of the application, there is some of the law, right? Some of the agreement that we have to read, and then we have to agree with them. After that, they can give us the permission to use that software, right? So this is called the international copyright agreement. And last, as a conclusion, maybe inside the conclusion you can provide some suggestion about what type of license they can use. Maybe the license they can use, which is a Creative Commons license that they can use, and what is the benefit for that one, right? So what is the license? The Creative Commons is one of the license. So based on that, you have to go through and read the books. It will be easier for you if some similar like of question came in future. You can easily answer this question. So now came up with the answer. What can be the answer? The answer will be, okay, you guys can also do one thing. Take this point and try to write by yourself, okay? Then see what I give the answer. So the answer is this: when Dishan makes digital games, copyright laws play an important role in how he can use media like image, music and video, right? Because obviously when you will create a game, he needs images, music and videos. This law requires Dishan to get permission if he wants to use media created by others, right? Because if he wanted to use some of the media or some of the image created by others, he must have to acknowledge that. So, or he can choose royalty free media which is free to use without needing permission. So royalty is a type of free media that they can use without the use of the other permission, right? So this law required, this law means legislation. So I am explaining these things here, okay? Then here I am explaining about the copyright. So copyright law protect the right of artists, ensuring they earn money from their work and can continue to create new content. So they are motivated to create some new content, right? This protection is crucial because it keeps a steady supply of high quality media available for creator like Dishan. Dishan also needs to be careful not to break copyright law, right? Because using media without permission can lead to legal consequences such as fine or lawsuit. That means they have, if Dishan uses any of the images from other creator and then he don't acknowledge it or don't use the copyright thing, then obviously he have to give the fine. Now we'll came up with the international copyright that I already mentioned, international copyright. So international copyright agreement help ensure that these laws are respected across the different country, right? So a different type of countries actually accept this type of law, which is important since Dishan's game could reach a global audience. Now as a conclusion, or you can write as a finally, Dishan can use media that comes up with free license like Creative Commons. Creative Commons is one of the license that is free. If you can use it, no copyright law or no fine, you don't have to give any fine, or there is no copyright law there, right? So this is the answer of question number 4, and this one is the brainstorming. So question number 5 is about discuss the advantage and disadvantage of using sensor to make decision of car drivers. So in this question they already mentioned you that you have to came up with the advantage and disadvantage. So before starting that question, I want to mention that we have a batch, like a batch will be started on this September for only the question paper solving. So if any one of you guys want to join, please message me on my WhatsApp, or maybe you guys can email me. Okay, so discuss the advantage and disadvantage. So for this particular question we first have to came up with the same thing, right? So here for the body, first of all, because we have to identify the type of sensors are there inside the car, because then you can came up with what can be the advantage and what can be the disadvantage. For that thing, first of all we'll came up with type of sensor. Okay, and the type of sensor, it can be there is a sensor for seat belt, like if you don't attach seat belt with your body, then there is some signal, it's already pushing, right? It's already doing some sound similar like that. Then there is a tire pressure, like if the pressure is low on the tire, then they create some of the signal. Then there is a proximity, then there's a sensor for light and rain. Then there is some automatic sensor also there. Automatic sensor means they can able to detect the nearer object, right? If the object is closer to the car, there's some of the distance. If the distance is lesser, then the car will automatically brake. Then we will came up with advantage and disadvantage. So advantage, what can be the advantage? Because this type of sensor will obviously improve the performance and safety, right? Performance and safety. Then also driver can focus on the road, then because driver don't need to focus on the other thing, focus on the road. Now we will came up with a disadvantage. What can be the disadvantage? So this is the advantage. Now we will came up with disadvantage. So the disadvantage is, suppose if sensor is failed, then there can be an accident occur, right? Sensor fail, accident occur. So who will take the responsibility? So there is an issue with the responsibilities. And the third one thing, obviously driver will be more dependent on the sensor. So take this point and try to make this answer by your own. So this is the answer for this question. So first of all, I create an introduction which is saying that sensor in cars offer both advantage and disadvantages. Okay, on the positive side, sensors like seat belt, tire pressure, like whatever the thing that I mentioned here, so I just write the name of the sensor, and light or rain sensor helps driver by automating tasks such as turning on headlight, activating wipers, and warning about nearby objects, right? This improves car performance and safety, allowing driver to focus more on the road without distraction. However, there are downsides are also there. If sensor fails and causes an accident, it's unclear who is responsible, the driver, car owner, or manufacturer, right? So drivers might also become too reliant on these systems, potentially losing more of their driving skills. Additionally, sensor and computers can handle complex ethical decisions in different situation. That means in a life, right, there can be a different type of situation can came when people are driving on the road. So for that perspective, it's quite harder for the computer to think as a complex way. So in short, while sensor can, like this one is actually, I just paraphrase all these things in a short 2 line. So in short, while sensor can enhance safety and convenience, they also pose risk such as over reliance on technologies and unclear responsibilities in case of failure. So this is the end of question number 5. Okay, and this is the so question number 6 is about Asher posts video about computer games on a video sharing site, right? Justify his decision to use the video sharing site. So that means he's sharing his video, computer games video, on the site where they are sharing the video. It can be a community similar like that. So I think this is one of the most easiest question, and the word they're using is justify, right? You have to justify from your point of view to the decision. What can be the decision? This one is actually, there's nothing about advantage or disadvantage. You just need to justify what can happen when you share something to the community or a video sharing site. So suppose for that one, just copy these things. So there will be one of the introduction, conclusion, and what can be inside the body. So for the body, we can think first, when we share a video website to the community or a sharing site, we can get a number of audience, right? A similar interest type of audience, or the people who have a similar interest, or the people who have interest to see the gaming video. Because of that reason, they join that type of site or the community. So we will get wider audience. Then we can think about some other other point, which is the interactivity, right? Because the viewer can able to comment, like, or share his video, which can help him to further sharing his video in. And beside that, he can also get some comment from the people. If there is something need to improve, he can able to get it from there, right? So there can be interactivity. Then we can also get some help with the analytics, right? For Facebook, they provide some option for the analytics, where they provide different type of graphs, and from that graphs we can able to understand what type of particular audience are liking which type of videos more. So Asher can able to create some of the most watching videos in future, based on the analytics. Whichever the videos are getting more view, based on that he can create some new video, right? So analytics can also help him to target his audience. Analytics help to target his audience. Okay, now we can also think about free distribution, right? So that one is like, he don't have to pay for it, right? He can just freely distribute his work to the other, and this can increase his followers, or increase his followers, right? So which can help him to monetize his channel in the futures. So for that one, he can also get a monetization option, right? Monetization option in the future, he will get it. So this is the 6 points that I get. So now I will just describe this of the point a bit more and create a paragraph. So first of all, you can use my word or my point and then create by yourself. Then you can came up with the video to see what I write. So this is the answer for this question. So here it is saying that Asher's decisions to use a video sharing site for his computer games video makes sense for several reasons, right? There's several reasons. What can be the reason? First, it helps him reach a wider audience. I already mentioned wider audience. Since these sites have millions of users, right? This allows more people to see his video than if he shared them on his own. The site also offers interactivity, right? Letting viewer comment, like, and share his video, which helps build a community. This leads to further sharing, right? So a further sharing can happen because of that, as people can easily share his videos with others, spreading his content even more with analytics. Now it comes with the analytics point. Asher can see who is watching his video and use that information to make better videos in the future. The sites tool also helps target his audience, making sure his video reach people interested in computer games, right? The site provides free distribution that I also mentioned, so Asher doesn't have to pay to share his video. Plus, he can use monetization option to earn money from his video, turning his hobby as a potential income. In short, using a video sharing site helps Asher reach more complex people, engage with his audience, share his video widely, and even make money, all without spending anything, right? So this is the answer for the question number 6. I hope you guys understand. If you guys face any problem, please comment it out on the comment section, so I will try to answer that. Question number 7 is about Camille is writing an article for a website, right? So here you have to discuss how ICT makes it easier to plagiarize and the impact of plagiarism on others. That means the IT or maybe the online internet network technology, we can easily copy some other works, right? Which will be a thing for the plagiarism, right? We can't able to copy the other work. And what can be the impact happens on other. So these things is discussed, this discussion question, right? And you have to discuss is based on the plagiarism. What is the plagiarism and what can happen and everything like this. So first of all, we will discuss what is the meaning of plagiarism. Plagiarism mean, right? Because this is the one point we can use. Then we will think about what is the meaning of plagiarism, and there is the number of tools out there that can able to detect plagiarism, right? So we can write the, or maybe we can tell how it works. So how plagiarism detection tool work, right? Then we will write about if someone do the plagiarizing thing, what can be the effect that can happen to them, right? So what happened if someone, or maybe you can think if Camille is plagiarized something. Right, then we can think about like suppose if someone plagiarizes your work, right, what the impact you will face, what the impact you will go through, right? Suppose you create a video game and you see that after 1 month someone else copied your work and then they say that this is his work, right? So what's the thing that you will go through? You will go through a trust issues, right? So plagiarism effect on people. So this is the 4 point you can write in a border way, okay? So try to write it by yourself and then you guys can look at the answer. So before pausing the video, I want to share that I saw that so many people are actually seeing my video, but there are so many less people are subscribing it. So please subscribe my channel, so in future you will get more tips and tricks and more question paper solution. So it will be help you as well as help me, right? So please subscribe if you get this particular or maybe the video that I'm creating as a helpful material. So the answer for this question will be this. So what it's saying that when Camille writes an article, information and communication technology like ICT, like this is the introduction, right, makes it easier for her to plagiarize. So this is the thing, just I did a paraphrase. The internet provide quick access to vast amount of information, right, and making it simple to copy and paste content without proper credit. This ease of access can lead to accidental or intentional plagiarism. So what is the meaning of plagiarism? I describe it here. Then, however, the ICT also makes it easier to detect. Now I am describing the second point, how plagiarism detection tool work. So however, ICT also makes it easier to detect plagiarism. Tools like plagiarism checker can quickly scan, or maybe you guys can add the Turnitin and compare it to millions of online resources, making it harder for copied content to go unnoticed. Okay, so after that I'm writing about what happened if someone plagiarizes. So plagiarism has serious consequences for the original creator. It means losing recognition for their work, right, which can affect their reputation and opportunities. If Camille is caught plagiarizing, her own reputation could be damaged, leading to penalties such as having her article removed from facing legal issues, right? So if you copy some of the YouTube video and upload in your channel, then if the real owner copyright your video, then they will remove your video, right? This is the thing you will face if you copy someone image or the someone photo, something like that. So on a broader level, plagiarism impacts society by undermining trust in information. When people can't be sure who really created content, it reduces the value of originality and discourages creativity and innovation, right? That's why they created a different type of copyright common license, like that we already learn, I think, here this question. So in short, using a video, in summary, ICT makes it easy to plagiarize but also easier to detect, right, because we have a number of tools out there, and the consequences of plagiarism can harm the original creators, damage Camille's reputation, and weaken trust and creativity in society. So this is the answer for question number 7. You guys can also check my question paper video for May 2023, where I also write this answer in a different way, so you guys can also check that one as well if you find this one is a bit harder. Question number 8 is discuss the sustainability issues related to ICT. You should consider this aspect of digital devices in your response, right? So they already mentioned you the 4 points. I will not answer the question number 8. You have to answer by yourself. If you get any issues, I have a question paper solving for November 2023 paper 1. You guys can go to that video and find out the answer for these questions. Okay, so just shift to the question number 9, which is discuss the choices society must make about the rights of individuals when monitoring movement and communication. So what type of choices society should make when they are monitoring the movement and communication of the individuals, right? So for this one is a bit tricky question, so you guys have to identify, like if someone monitor you and your privacy or the communication you did to other people, what type of effect you will get. So this is the thing you have to discuss here, and maybe there is some advantage and disadvantage, but I think most are connected with the disadvantage things. So for the brainstorming thing here, what we will do, so when someone will monitor, there must be balance between, right, between privacy and safety. Safety, right? Because too much monitoring are not good. So but sometimes monitoring can help to stopping the crime, right? So monitoring, so this question is not about advantage or disadvantage. This question is about just describe, right? Monitoring stop crime, right, some of the times. Then we can also think about monitoring can also, you know, affect the control and freedom as well. So we can add monitoring affect control and freedom of a certain individual person. So, and the other thing is society have to decide when they need to monitor a certain people, right, or individuals, because they can't able to monitor each and everyone. So society need to decide when they need to monitor individuals. Then we can also think that we also have to came up with some of the, you know, misused of the monitoring thing. Misused of monitoring, like some of the people are monitoring individuals constantly for a month or a year, but when they don't find anything about that person, but the person are claiming that you are affecting my privacy or the freedom, then the particular people who are monitoring that individual, they're claiming that if you are not doing anything wrong, then you should not worry about being monitored, right? But this is not actually, this is not a fact of matter, that this is not a fact, like this is actually not a good way, right, to monitor a person without the permission, because sometimes it's misuse their information. And then we can also think about also because some of the unfairly targeted people we can monitor, right? So that what can be the issues of the community. Unfair monitor. Okay, so this is all the point. Based on that, you have to write the answer for this question. So it's a bit bigger because okay. So the answer of this question is, when society monitors people's movement and communication, it has to make important choices between balancing privacy and safety that I already mentioned, right? Monitoring can help keep people safe by stopping crimes, but it also invades personal privacy. So society need to decide how much privacy should be given up for protection, right? Monitoring also affects control and freedom. While it helps authorities maintain order, it can also limit personal freedom. The challenge is to find a balance that keeps people safe without taking away too much freedom. Then constant surveillance can lead to mistrust. So people can start to mistrust, right? People might feel less free and become more suspicious to the government, which can harm the relationship between citizenship and authorities, right? So if you think about the online thing like the Facebook or the Google, right, they are also continuously monitoring us. But if their monitoring is that much, you know, too much, then obviously people will started to mistrust them. So they always balance it. Then there should also be a clear reason for invading privacy. society has to decide when it's okay to monitor, whether it should only happen in cases of clear dangers or more often. So society also need to be think carefully about that they're doing this, or they're mostly doing it for a certain reason. Then some people say that if you're not doing anything wrong, you shouldn't worry about being monitored, but this idea ignores the importance of privacy and the risk of personal information being misused, right? So firstly, monitoring can lead to discrimination where certain groups are unfairly targeted. Society must make sure that monitoring doesn't result in unfair treatment of specific communities. In summary, society must carefully balance the benefit of monitoring. This is actually the conclusion, okay, with individual rights, keeping people safe without taking away too much privacy and freedom. So this is the end of this video. So please subscribe and like my video if you guys really getting help from this video.